Linda, on your blog, you've written about virtues in the time of Corona. Can you share with us some strategies for going through grief and loss?
Sure. I wrote a book after the loss of my beloved brother, John Kavelin, who was the co-founder of the Virtues Project with myself and my husband, Dan Popov. And it's called Graceful Endings, Navigating the Journey of Loss and Grief. And we really need to know how to navigate right now. Because since this coronavirus has come out, we've had unprecedented change in terms of lockdown, in terms of the suspension of all economic activity, and most of us are staying at home. Thank God for the first responders and all the people that serve us. But this is such a strange time. And I think there are many kinds of grief. I think there's grief at the loss of our regular life, and especially our freedom to go out, our freedom to do whatever we want, our freedom to shop whenever we want. Now we stand in a long line, 6 feet apart. And as simple as that, there is a sense of what do we do? How do we adjust to this? I sometimes once a week go shopping with other seniors in a van, and they're very concerned about their hair. Who is going to cut it? You can't get your hair cut. Simple things like that. But the tragedy is that people's lives are being lost. We're losing people we love. We're losing people that we thought would be here for a much longer time, because it isn't just the elderly that are dying. It's the young ones. It's young people in their 20s, their 40s. So it is a shocking time. And I think we're all, to one extent or another, in a place of trauma. So one of the things that I recommend in Graceful Endings is that we find someone who can use the Virtues Project strategy of companioning, spiritual companioning. And what that is allowing someone to empty their cup and really express everything they're feeling, shed every tear they need to shed, shake, carry on whatever it is that they need to do to release that pain, but without fixing, without judging, without advising, just being totally present with sacred curiosity. So we need to find people that have that gift, whether a counselor or someone we know that's just able to listen to us. And the thing is that I have found in my work at hospice, because I've been a spiritual care director and a spiritual caregiver at hospice, even as recently as now that I live in Lanai, I work with the local hospice here. And what I've learned is that grief comes in waves. And you may have a lot of fun one day with your kids, you may be watching a great video, and then all of a sudden you find yourself bursting into tears. So I've come to think of this method I'm going to describe as the whale method of grief, of grieving. And it's where you plunge in, you plunge down into the grief, get in the car, drive somewhere, cry, empty it, yell, whatever you need to do, and then come back up and get a breath of air, get a breath of change, do something that you enjoy, and just dive in, come out, dive in, come out. And companioning does that, is a process by which we do that for each other. We say, what is the hardest thing about this? What are those tears? What is hurting you the most? What is the saddest thing for you about this? When do you cry? What is this trigger for you? What do you remember now that this is happening to you? And you let the person really fully empty their cup. And then you bring them out by saying, what do you think would give you the courage to go move through this? You use a virtue. And then you say, what has been helpful about talking? And that question integrates thinking and feeling so that it's a place to come out and say, this has helped me. For example, the other night I was um, facilitating a women's circle online on Zoom. And one of the women who moved from Lanai to California, at the end, I said, what have people appreciated about our time together? And she said, just talking about how I really feel, I'm much more peaceful now. She said, I love you all and I know you love me. And it makes all the difference. And then, of course, we all acknowledge her for a virtue. And when someone is grieving and you want to be the companion, you need to give them a virtues acknowledgement. So that language of the virtues is a very, very powerful and important way to honor someone after they've emptied their cup so they can refill it with their sense of the virtues that they have within them. So that's one of the techniques, but I think it's really pacing yourself, having some purpose every day, finding a way to give to others, because if you want to be happy, practice compassion. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. That's what the Dalai Lama says. So I think he said it the other way. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. And if you want to be happy, practice compassion. There is nothing that feels better than sharing with another person, doing something for someone else that they can't do for themselves. And it just makes them feel loved and cared for.
Thank you. Linda, thank you so much for your compassionate wisdom, really offering us tangible strategies, things that we can do, and the resources like your book, Graceful Endings. And also, as you were sharing, was thinking about a pace of grace, Virtues for a
Yes.
Sustainable Life. And it's really where these two books that you so lovingly have written join together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm calling on all of it right now myself, and I hope that it's helpful to other people as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dara,
You're
for
welcome.
your gracious interview, as always.